Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, and we are going to have an incredible show for you tonight. Dione Anderson is here. We're going to get into all sorts of metaphysical consciousness stuff. We are going to clear your chakras and rub your Zen and Chi just the right way so you feel very easily drifting off to sleep after this one. It's going to be a good night indeed as we take a look at who's here tonight, shall we? Well, we got Kitty Caddywhack in the gold medal position. Tim Mothman and his goatee sharing a silver. Race Fan with a bronze medal tonight. Erica Stover, how you doing? Nice to see you. Down to earth. Thanks for coming on in. Attorney at Large, Michael Morris, and Mel WD-40 is here. Mel's lubing us up for tonight's show because you can't get into your Zen and Chi without being lubed up. So thank you, Mel, for taking care of that tonight. Robert Lamoth, how you doing? Nice to have you here as we continue on with our roll call. JSCO, thank you for joining us. Necessary Dialogue. And Mama Catherine, my Mama Catherine, I love you so much. I do. You are the best. Thank you for just being way too kind to me. You're going to enjoy this show. I promise you, you will. Let us continue here as next we say hello to Shelley Heaton. How you doing tonight? Mickey G is here. Mickey G will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Kitty Caddywhack, thank you very much for kicking off the super chat tonight. We greatly appreciate your love and support of SOR. So thank you very, very much. Luscious Jules, nice to see you as we continue on with our roll call here. Up next, we say hello to Walter Kochubinsky. How are you? Ross Lambda. Nice to have you here. The Roswell Alien, good to have you here, my friend, as we continue on with our roll call here. And Terrestrial Human, how you doing? Thank you for that Canadian super chat. I always take a Canuck super chat. Well, being Canadian myself, it just makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Where are you from? Let me know. I appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Scrolling on down, we say next or hello next to Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. Number 77 in your program tonight, starting at left wing from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jansson. Thunderhead, how are you tonight? Nice to have you here. Thomas Rock is here. Thomas Rock will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Chaz Mataz, thank you for joining us as we continue on with our roll call. Millennium, my man, nice to have you here. And who is next on our list? Well, let's just keep scrolling. That's what we do. Operation Shutdown, how are you? And Undead Jed, thank you for coming on in. Algaray over on Twitch. He did 90,000 sit-ups this afternoon. Took him an hour and 42 minutes, but he got it done. Way to go, buddy. Way to go. Way to push it. Scrolling on down. Up next, we have Creepy Pasta. Lacey Blue, nice to see you. And sometimes my eyes just can't read this writing. Kathy Evans, nice to have you here. From Montreal, very nice. Never been to Montreal. Sensational Shelley, how are you? Let's get the radio side going. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, and we are going to have Angela Dione Anderson here hanging on out with us to talk about our consciousness and the levels of the mind we can push through. It's going to be a great show. We need more of this in this world. As we get going here momentarily, we are in roll call on our YouTube side, and we want to remind everybody, do us a favor, give us a thumbs up, and after the show, leave a comment below. And don't forget, in our community, I'm posting questions now each and every day. So make sure you check that on out. We got to get out of this shadow banning stuff. So the help with you guys can helping us out would really help us out. Blue Cruise, nice to see you. The super chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show. And don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. Throw those horns up. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the little cabin in the woods, where together, my friends, we own the night. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We have an amazing show for you tonight. We're going to get into the consciousness angle and figure out what our alchemical engineering is all about. Angela Dione Anderson will be here momentarily to break it all down for us. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will kick things off. We'll follow that up with the wizard, Josh Rutledge, with an exciting UFO report. So let's get right to it, shall we? Angela Dione Anderson is a renowned spiritual channel and ascension guide who embodies divine light and higher consciousness. Known as the Woman of Light, Angela radiates a deeply transformative presence that supports personal and collective awakening. Through her intuitive gifts, including vocal light language, quantum sound transmissions, and sacred frequencies, she helps dissolve energetic blocks, restore balance, and align individuals with their true soul purpose. Yeah, we had a good meditation session right before the show, too. As a facilitator of the spiritual awakening, Angela blends a power of sound healing, intuitive guidance, and sacred embodiment to activate higher awareness and accelerate ascension. Her offerings, ranging from guided activations and group workshops to self-paced experiences, invite seekers to reconnect with source consciousness and embody their highest potential. Now, if you want to check her on out, which I highly suggest you do, you can find her at AngelaDioneAnderson.com. Her YouTube channel, Angela Dione, Dione spelled D-I-O-N-E, Anderson. So make sure you check it on out. Hit subscribe. Ring that bell when you're there. Angela, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. How are you?
I am doing so well. I'm so excited. You guys are so crunk. I'm excited to get going tonight.
I'm excited too, and I'm just gonna say it. I'm going to say it. I'm a little smitten right now. That beautiful smile. Okay. That beautiful smile, that energetic purpose that you have. How did you find yourself?
Oh my God, it's been such a journey. It's been such a journey. I have always been kind of tapped in a little bit, but like most kids, I had that um, I suppressed it to a degree because I didn't have that external validation in the form of somebody who was living that life, walking the path. So I held it in, but like these things go, you can try to hold it in, but it's always there in the background. So yeah, I lived my life that way for a while. Go ahead. You want to ask a
When
question?
you were younger,
Yep.
were you in touch with your intuitive side? Did you know that there was something different, or did you have to build on it?
Well, I knew there was something there. I would see things and have experiences, but I would share those with my mother or my dad. Well, not really my dad, but more so my mother. But I never got those validated. So I kind of connected the dots that everybody wasn't perceiving life the same way that I was at the time. So yeah.
Was anybody else in your family intuitive? Mother, grandmother, family
And
members?
I came to realize that after the fact, like in my adult life, but as a kid, I know there was nobody that I was aware of who was walking that path. No,
So
not at all.
basically, God source gave you this weird energy that you needed to figure out and find your own path. I mean, when did that start for you? When did you start realizing that this was a journey that you had to embark on?
Okay, so there were many things that happened, and it was really a progressive thing. It wasn't an all-in-one lightning strike moment where I came to realization of myself. It was progressive over time. So there were small things that would happen. So it began like this. I was very small, maybe about 2 or 3, sitting on the bed, and my mother was talking to my dad. My dad was in the shower, and I'm sitting there just watching the room. And in the hallway, I can see a shadow man walk down the hallway, turn and look in my mother's room at me, and I tried to get my mother's attention to look at him, to acknowledge him, but she would never turn around. She would never turn around. And the very moment that she decided to look, he walked down the hallway and merged into the shadows in the darkened hallway. That was one situation. And then years later, my mother and my father had gotten divorced by this time, and I spent a lot of time alone. And so I was outside feeding the dog, went to feed the dog, and I reached down to turn the water spigot on to give the dog water. And as I reached down, there was a snake coiled up, ready to strike, mouth wide open, and all I saw was teeth. And so I in that moment, I heard a voice speak, and that voice said, "Don't run, just turn and walk away." And I didn't question it. There was like this haze, this sparkly haze that appeared all of a sudden. I didn't panic. I turned and I walked calmly away. Went in the house and called my mom and told her what was outside. When she got home, because she rushed right home, when she got home, went out in the backyard, and by this time the dog had killed the snake that was there. But I went inside and I questioned, why wasn't I bitten? Because I was so close. I was within an inch of this snake, and he didn't bite me. It was like time stopped. Everything stood still. Nothing moved. But I questioned why I wasn't bitten. From that point, I started to realize that there was something else going on, and there was some voice that I needed to listen to, that I needed to take heed of, that was protecting me. Also, that was guiding me and protecting me. And over the course of my life, the events that occurred were more and more significant. Yeah, more and more significant.
I had to learn the hard way about that voice.
Yeah.
I was almost killed.
Mm.
So I wanted to go ATVing with my buddies. And my buddy who I usually rode with, he couldn't go that day. So I had some other guys that I had ridden with before that were like, come on, we're going to go try these brand new trails. And I was like, yeah, I'm all pumped up, waited for the snow to melt, all winter long. It's a beautiful spring day in March, and the entire drive up there in 2013, I kept hearing this voice, "Don't go today. Turn around. Go home. Today is not a good day for riding." And I just went, "No, I'm going." You know, why am I having this voice? Totally tuned it out, getting angry over it, to be honest with you. 15 minutes into the ride, at about 4 or 5 miles an hour, my front wheel on my ATV hit a rock.
Mm.
I've gone over rocks like that with no problem whatsoever. My ATV, it bounced my tires, and I went into a washout on this hill, and I flipped off my ATV, fell. My ATV rolled over top of me and rolled 250 feet down an embankment.
Wow.
I have trusted that voice ever since.
Oh, yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
hard lesson. That cost me about $12,000, that lesson, because my ATV was destroyed.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Significant. That voice is amazing because, through all of those events that would happen, I never questioned the voice. I never questioned, I never said, well, who is this voice? Or why should I listen to this voice? There was this internal knowing. I see that in hindsight, in retrospect, that I always listened to that voice. I always took heed of that voice. And just like you, that voice, listening to that voice and learning to trust it was the thing that saved my life, because I could have checked out many times. And I think the situations that I encountered were exit points. They could have been exit points. It was like trust or die, like trust or die. Fall down the stairs, trust or die, trust or die. Like every situation was one of those situations where if I hadn't trusted the voice, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. Yeah.
No, I totally agree with you. For people who may not understand that voice,
Yeah.
what is that voice we're talking about?
That voice. Oh, people perceive it in many ways. The way I perceive it is the true me. It is the true essence of me. It is the divine aspect of me linked to source, or what some people call God. It's that internal voice, that still small voice, as people term it, that internal knowing. Internal knowing. Yeah.
I perceive it as almost like that angelic voice of reason, that one that keeps you on the straight path, the straight and narrow path. And if you pay
Mm.
attention to it, it never goes wrong. It will never steer you the wrong way. I call it the soul voice.
Yeah, exactly. The soul, that aspect of the divine. From my perspective, though, it's all one thing. It's all linked to the universal consciousness and the universal source, the fabric of creation. It's all, as I perceive it, it is all one thing, focused into unique expressions that present as physical form. Yeah.
As you continue on your journey here, have you developed your own interpersonal intuition, whether it's your clairs or your psychic ability to have mediumship or connection to the other side?
I would say it's always there. There is, from my perspective, it's no distance. Everything, from my perspective, as far as how I am embodied now, everything is fully online, fully realized. Like I am all here from a soul perspective. I am literally soul animating form. Yeah.
So when you're on, do you have the ability to shut it off?
I wouldn't shut it off. I have no desire to shut it off. Like I can shut it off. Let's see how
Well,
to phrase it.
let's just say this. Let's
Yeah.
say I'm going to give you an example here. Let's
Yeah.
say you're going on out on the town with your friends, and you want to have a nice bath and get yourself ready before going out. I mean, the last thing you want is, Joe Smith coming up to you and saying, "Hey, beautiful Angela, how you doing tonight? What are you up to?" In spirit world, it's going to be a little awkward.
From the way I perceive it is, or the way it works for me, is that the divine me knows. So I don't have to coordinate a whole lot of things. I am fully surrendered to the divine me. And I know that that aspect of me, as me, is orchestrating things in the way that work best for me. So I am fully surrendered to that. And by virtue of that, things show up as in perfect timing, in divine timing. I don't have to coordinate anything from this human identity self.
So when that happens, do you immediately go into your spiritual form then and start connecting with who's trying to connect with you?
Um, so, so there's no need to connect. I'm always connected. Like I'm never
No,
not
no, I get that, but
connected. Yeah.
don't you have, I guess what I'm saying is a lot of psychic people that I know and
Yeah.
highly intuitive people, they have
Yeah.
boundaries around them. They're like, look, when I'm sleeping, don't bug me. When I'm in the shower, don't bug me. You know, if I'm out with friends, don't bug me. They have these almost like these spiritual barricades around them. That way they can have some peace while they're living life, shall we say.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's a little bit different. For me, it's a little bit different. And they're like right here. So my body responds when when I have a presence present. But for me, there is no disconnect. For me, there is no need to establish a boundary. We are fully present as the field, animating the field, creating the field, the instrument through which the divine moves, lives, breathes. So there's no necessity for a boundary in those terms. Fully surrendered, from my perspective, is fully surrendered being. I am fully surrendered to being that soul and form. So I don't do a lot of setting boundaries from that perspective, because everything that comes is meeting me in perfect divine timing, perfectly aligned timing.
So our radio audience won't be able to see this unless they watch on YouTube, but
Yeah.
I can see you. And I notice you keep looking over your right shoulder. So I'm going to ask you, who's there?
Um, that I don't have a name. I don't have a name. But I have many streams of consciousness. I'll say it like this. We are antennas. We are always receiving and perceiving information. And so I feel a stream of information, a stream of energy, a stream of consciousness here. I don't personify that. I don't have a necessity to personify that. I just receive it as information from the field. And so as it's coming, can I feel into it? I can feel it physically, and I can feel it intuitively. It's a sense, a knowing. Yeah.
Is it divine masculine or divine feminine energy around you right now?
It's not gendered, not gendered in that way. Yeah.
It's good energy, though.
It is good energy.
Totally picking it up. I'm totally picking it up right now. I will say this. This is what I got from it, because sometimes my intuition kicks in. I have
Yes.
a very handsome black man wearing a white T-shirt with a very thin beard. He's about between 5'11" and 6'1".
Okay.
And I'm getting a right side profile. He's wearing a white T-shirt and blue jeans. and he's staring down at you with a giant smile on his face.
Wow. Wow.
Handsome man. Very
That's
handsome.
funny. That's funny. Yeah. Nice.
That nice, Nate?
I don't typically personify the energies that I feel and perceive. Yeah, that's interesting.
But does that resonate so that way I don't look like a fool after just saying that on the radio?
Well, I don't see it that way. Again, I perceive it as energy. Like I perceive it as energy. I don't typically uh, project into forms, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. Either way, handsome dude.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Nice.
Handsome. Good energy. I want to know, as we got about 3.5 minutes before going to break, Angela. I want
Okay.
to know how much you enjoy doing what you're doing, because the positivity that comes off your energy just speaking to you
Yeah.
is very powerful. It's very, like I want to grasp at it. You've got my attention. You've caught my intrigue up.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great place to be. Like I'm fully surrendered into being, existing as me, the true me. So there's no need for anything else. Like that's bliss. That's the pure positive energy that you are. That's the true essence of you. So I'm fully connected in that space. So I enjoy being. I enjoy being all of me, the fullness of me. Yes.
What is the fun part of your being? Is it dealing with people? Is it dealing with spirit? Is it connecting the two, or allowing somebody the ability, or I guess you're not allowing, helping somebody with the ability to find their own path? What is the high of highs for you?
The high of highs for me is fulfilling that purpose of being the channel through which the divine flows and illumines the field, illumines all of creation. So that which is unconscious, bringing awareness to that which is unconscious. I think that's the task that we have now. We are on the leading edge. I had this thought earlier today. We are on the leading edge. Abraham says that through Esther Hicks all the time. We are on the leading edge of creation. And from my perspective, that's not necessarily related to physical form or being in physical form. What that means from my perspective is bringing the unconscious into fully conscious awareness. That's the path. That's the ascension journey. That's a transition that we're all going through right now. So for me, that is the sweet spot, allowing what desires to be expressed to flow through this instrument as vessel in whatever way it needs to within the moment. That means being fully present, seated, rooted, grounded within the present moment, bringing all of me, the beingness that presents as me, to this single point of focus, and allowing that essence that moves through this vessel to radiate and impact the field, to spark awareness, to enliven hearts, to bring energy, divine energy to what presents to all that might have the opportunity to be in receipt. Because in doing so, are you reminded of your truth? It allows everything and everyone to reconnect with the true essence of self. So that's a sweet spot.
Great answer. Great answer. And, it makes me wonder, as we get ready to go to break here, what is our own personal spiritual truth? Because I think, when you live life in a 9 to 5 or a 24/7, like most people do now, the spiritual side seems to take the seat to the left. Like, you go over there. I got too much going on this side, and we're going to get to that. What is spiritual truth? Next on Spaced Out Radio, as we have a fantastic guest tonight, Angela Dione Anderson. Her website, AngelaDioneAnderson.com. The alchemical engineer is with us on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned, everybody. All right. Now we are clear. I was
Nice.
fast.
It was fast.
I told you. I told you.
Nice.
All right. I just have to make a comment to my listeners here. Excuse me. In YouTube, sometimes YouTube will take your channel and they will not promote it or push it anymore. So what happens is when you are going through that process, like we are and many other UFO, Bigfoot, paranormal channels are at this time, what happens is your numbers and your watch time start going down. So it's called being shadow banned, that they are pushing other subjects and other connections rather than your own. Now, I talked to a few friends of mine about this just the other day, and the way you have to beat it is audience participation, along with putting up other types of videos, which we're trying to do at this time. And we will be doing a little bit more of it here soon. Hi, Paul Nicholas. FU Zaddy. Yeah. So with that, your help in helping us get out of that shadow ban is to make sure that you interact with us a little bit more in the community section, in the chat room, leaving comments, which you guys awesomely do every night, along with after the show, leave a comment on the show if you don't mind. Take that 35-40 seconds to say, hey, that was a great show or whatever. Just leave those comments. That will help us get out of the ban. And it'll take a couple of months to do it, hopefully. But yeah, YouTube has been on a, lack of a better term, a warpath for subjects like UFOs, consciousness, paranormal, cryptids. We're all being hit and pushed down the ladder right now on trying to get the message out. So the only channels that are not being hit hard by that are those who have at least 1 million, 500,000 to 1 million type subscribers. Yeah. So basically what YouTube is doing for a lot of the subjects, from what I've learned, YouTube, don't hit me on the algorithms for this when I say this, but from what I've learned, what they're doing is they are really having a push over the last number of months trying to promote the bigger channels that are out there, the multi-million subscriber channels, and pushing the little guys like us and many others that are bigger and smaller than us kind of to the wayside. So that's why maybe you're not getting the notifications now that we have a show. If you are subscribed and ringing the bell but not getting the notifications, may I suggest unsubscribing, resubscribe, and hit the bell again. That way, that should hopefully change that. Ross Smith, how you doing? And let's see here. Two Shadows, thank you for coming on in. And Two Shadows, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. Love your logo. Love the logo.
Nice.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm having to do a hardcore deep dive into how YouTube works. And it's very, very weird. I think my 12-year-old son could figure it out easier than I can. Vanessa, how are you, beautiful? All right. Kurt M or Kurt W75. I heard it might be your birthday. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday
Nice. Thank
to
you.
you. Happy birthday, Kurt W. Happy birthday to you. There you go. Blow out the candles, man. Blow them out. All right. We got about 27 seconds. Exactly. Right down. Thank you tonight to Two Shadows, Kitty Caddywhack, Terrestrial, and Sensational Shelley for the awesome super chats. We greatly appreciate your love and support. Remember, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Why? We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. Amy, thank you for adding to the super chat. Love you, my dear. And here we go, everybody. Here we go with the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We're having a great show learning about our Zen, our Chi, our consciousness, and how we can become a darn good being in the soul region, in the heart region, in the mind and body region as well. Lord knows my body needs some help. My name is Dave Scott. Our guest is Angela Dione Anderson. Her website, let's bring that up, AngelaDioneAnderson.com. She is, and I love this title, and maybe she doesn't title herself this, but I'm going to say it. She's the alchemical engineer. I love that. I bet you that comes with a nice hat to wear with a logo that's an alchemical engineer. And if you don't have that one, put it on your store, Angela. Thank you for coming on in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah.
Let's get to the soul, man. Let's get there. Let's get to the soul. What's it all about? Who's running the ship?
Well, the soul is supposed to be running the ship. The issue with humanity is that more often than not, the personality or the ego self is running the show. So there's a misalignment from that perspective. We are souls having a human experience. And so it's the proper alignment is for the identity to surrender in alignment with the soul, allow itself to be guided. This is why I said earlier that there is no need for me to orchestrate from my perspective, because being a fully aligned, fully realized being in form, I am fully surrendered to that soul essence of self. And so the path is already known on a soul level. And so all I have to do from an identity perspective is surrender fully to the now. And with humanity, most people get caught up thinking about the past, worrying about the future, what will come, what will I say next, rather than being fully surrendered and allowing the self to serve as fully open instrument, fully open conduit, permitting everything that desires to be expressed to simply flow, to simply flow.
I understand the ego part of it.
Yes.
I think all of us are egotistical in a way,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and we've pushed our soul to the side, that soul voice, that soul energy, you know, because life is hard.
Mm.
And when you're trying to diversify yourself and put yourself into running a marathon every day mentally, you don't have time to figure yourself out spiritually. Most people can't find 3 minutes in the day, let alone half an hour in a day, to sit back and meditate and breathe in what life is supposed to be. Life is hectic. Life can suck. You know, it's difficult when you have people who, you know, are working their butts off just to live, never mind a vacation or a night out with friends or even a beer with your buddy. Okay. Life over the last 10 years has become extremely vigilant. It's become extremely difficult financially, emotionally, and we've pushed the spiritual side away in order to just try and think this is how we survive. How do we reconnect to slow our mind down from what is going on daily, minute by minute, to say, hey, spirit, hey, soul, come talk to me. Let's have a few moments together.
Right. That is the challenge of the moment. And I will not minimize the difficulty of life. Life is as it is, but there is another way. And it doesn't have to be as hard as we sometimes can perceive it to be. This life thing is a bit of an extreme game, like a game on steroids, where wherein we have the ability to create. But the issue with creation is that we create and we get lost in our creations. We get lost in the illusion of the creations that we create. And so, in order to come out of that, we have to take a moment to breathe and realize that life will pull you into its loops and patterns. But the only way to break that is to allow yourself to entertain a new possibility. And that comes by way of those of us who are awakened, sharing in platforms like this, sharing openly without concern for what people will think, right? Having the courage to speak your truth from a place of authenticity. As people have a willingness to open in receipt of hearing that word, do they allow themselves to entertain a new possibility? And in entertaining a new possibility, you allow yourself a moment to pause and self-reflect. And it's only through that self-reflection that you begin to self-assess and see and begin to question life and all that it presents. So now here are the things to realize. I had somebody drop this in my bucket early on, and these were the things that stuck. And we make life so difficult because we think from a human perspective that there's always a necessity to do something. But we are here to be. We are beings. Beings simply be. Learn to be. So how do you do that? It's really simple. You have to understand the truth of who and what you are. And you are more than a physical form. You are consciousness, energy, consciousness, animating earth. The form is earth. You are the divine animating earth first. Next, you have to realize that life is not happening to you as much as it is happening because of you. And that's a hard pill to swallow, but it's the absolute truth, because life is experienced from the inside out. Life is experienced from the inside out. Life is a projection of the self. And so as you allow yourself to know that life is reflective of the energy, of the energetic resonance that you carry, then you can recognize the power that you truly hold to shift your reality by virtue of your thoughts. Your thoughts are directly linked to your energetic frequency. So it's the way you feel about what is happening in the external that kind of drives the cycle of what you feel on the internal. When you recognize that alone, then you have the ability to self-assess those feelings and ask, what is it that I want to create? Or why is it that I'm witnessing what it is that I'm seeing? If I am a divine being, animating form, and I am the creator or the projector projecting the reality that I am witnessing or experiencing, then what is this showing me about me? What belief am I holding about myself that is not true? Because everything that is not true from a soul perspective, you experience it as discontent, dis-ease, discord. So as you allow yourself to know that, then you can take the reins a little bit and say, okay, I need to level set my own internal beliefs. And assessing those internal beliefs assessing those internal beliefs, you have to go back, or you go back, end up going back, or connecting with the source of those beliefs. Where did I pick this thing up? And reframing that belief so that you can walk forward in truth. Only by virtue of reframing the limiting beliefs that are held do you render a new projection to experience in this life. So it's really getting down to knowing who you are. Do you know who you are? Because you're not the persona, you're not the ego, you're not the persona that you put on like a jacket in order to fit in with the world, right? We're not here to fit in with the world. We're here as unique expressions of source. And the reason we're here as unique expressions of source is because the source wants to discover all that it might become. We are the leading edge of thought. We are the manifestations, the physical manifestations of source consciousness, determining what it can become by learning to manipulate energy in form to create and discover. Everything we do is a learning experience. Everything that you witness within the world is a key to bring you into greater awareness of self, greater awareness of self.
Okay, I love what you're saying, but can I
Yeah.
please throw a caveat in there?
Yep.
Okay, because I never get to use the word caveat very often. And so I figured it was the perfect time. So that's what I'm going to do. And my caveat to this is life for a lot of people, and I don't mean to bring the energy down, but life for people is very difficult right now. They're worried about paying their bills, getting food on the table. Uh, doesn't matter where you stand politically. People are so much more emotional about politics now. They're emotional about what's happening in the world, whether it's the war between Russia, Ukraine, or Israel, Gaza, or the Middle East. They're worried about children's education. They're worried about, violence and everything. And this keeps being compounded by mainstream media, by social media, fake news all over the place. And it's not just the 6 o'clock evening news, people. It is social media putting out a bunch of this. And everything is about feelings now. How do you feel about this? Because feelings has become a multi-billion-dollar corporation. The word, somebody's feelings. So when you say about feelings that we have to get back to our feelings, how do we do that when the world has taken advantage of those feelings?
Okay. So then that's where you mentioned boundaries earlier, but so here's the thing. We think collectively, the thought is that if it presents, it's something I need to engage with, right? If I see it, I got to engage with that thing, right? Really, you are always choosing. So you get to choose where you lend your energy by virtue of your focus, right? So you have to come home to self and be intentional about where you allow your energy to be placed. Because the moment you place your energy in a specific place, then you pull yourself into that thing. And whether it's good or bad, whether it incites joy or fear, you are pulling yourself by virtue of your focus. So you have to be intentional about your time and your energy and your focus, the focus of your attention. Everybody has a sandbox. And there are some people who have big sandboxes and they want to pull everybody into their sandbox so they can dominate that sandbox, right? But by virtue of your attention, you can pull back your attention and say, you know what, I'm not going to lend my energy to that sandbox. I'm going to stay over here and play in my sandbox. I see that sandbox over there, but it's not doing what I wanted to do. I don't enjoy what they got going on over there in that sandbox. So I'm not going to play in that sandbox. I'm going to bring myself home to self, bring my energy home to self. You have to consciously curate, this is what I'm hearing, consciously curate your experience. So you have to be intentional about choosing where you lend your energy. If watching the news doesn't bring you good feelings, don't watch the news. If looking at what's going on over here, I send it love, I send it all that I can, light, to help lift that particular area, because I know consciously I have the power to affect change by virtue of my consciousness if I'm sending love to it, to lift it. But I don't have to let it bring me down. You have to be intentional about where you place your focus and how you lend your energy to things. Like that's the simplest way I can state that. Everybody has a sandbox. Everybody is sovereign. Everybody is choosing whether you are conscious about your choices or not. You are always choosing. So choose with intention. You have to come home to self. And there's nobody who can make you do it. It's a personal thing. That is the personal work of getting to know the self, coming home and getting to know the true self.
Love that idea. I absolutely love the idea of finding your true self. And you're right. You have to turn the television off. You have to turn the news stations off. You have to be able to walk away from social media. You don't need to be checking Facebook or Instagram or X every 10 minutes to see if somebody's liked your profile or liked your post or what's happening in the news, because it is mind numbing and draining and takes you into a dark place within yourself if you're not seeing what you want to see.
Yeah, I think that's the thing though. It depends on what you're looking for, right? Because if you're looking for something bad, if you're looking for all the fear of what's going on over here, because there's something bad going on over here and everything is horrible and all of these things, if you're looking for that, you're going to find more of that, right? By virtue of looking for that. That's your intention. You're looking for that. But you can scroll social media if you're looking for evidence of change. This is how I use social media. I'm looking for evidence of light permeating places, beginning to permeate places that it hasn't permeated before, right? You're looking for positive change. So you can scroll social media, but it's all about your intention and what you are seeking to find, because whatever you are seeking to find, you will find more of that. That's how this creation works. What I will to create, what I will to find is going to find me, because I'm looking for that thing. I'm going to get more of it because I'm lending my attention, my energy to that particular thing that I'm looking for.
I think that is absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And as we turn that corner and realize that we do have the power to regain control of our mind, body, and soul, when we start that process, how does the body start to transform?
It transforms in miraculous ways. Like I can tell you, so here's a great example for myself. When we had the pandemic, COVID, and everybody was in the lockdowns, and I had to work from home, and I had never wanted to work from home. I was a software engineer by trade, and I was working from home. The kids and everybody was so loud, but in my younger years, in my college years, I was a certified personal trainer. So I was regimented about my workouts. I always had to work out, lift weights, all of these things. But when that pandemic came, I just needed time to get away. I needed silence, that quiet time to myself. So I would get outside and go for walks. And at this time, I had had the two kids. So I was like maybe 20 pounds overweight, or 20 pounds heavier than I had ever been in my life. But I would get outside to go for these really slow walks. And I started to just connect with nature. And over time, I would take a moment to sit in the center of this field, in this park, and I started to meditate. I would take my long, slow walk, and at the end of that walk, I would sit in the middle of that field and just meditate. And over time, I noticed that I started to lose weight. And not only was I hearing from Gaia, and I was starting to reconnect myself with nature and started to really open up, but my body started to reflect these changes that I had been trying to force on it through working out and lifting weights. My body began to recalibrate. My body began to rebalance itself. Every aspect of me began to neutralize itself. And all the weight that I had tried to lose the previous 10 years kind of melted in about 6 months. Like I went from a size 14 to about a size 6. Not working out, but just taking these really slow walks around the park, taking time to meditate, reconnecting with my body, allowing my body to rebalance itself, allowing my nervous system to rebalance itself. And physically, my body shifted. It had, I wish I had pictures to show you right now, but that change was immediate. So there is a recalibration that happens when you surrender to you. When you surrender in greater degree to you, everything changes. Your health can change. Everything comes back into balance. And really, all ill health is imbalance. So if you learn how to rebalance the body, well, I won't even say learn how to rebalance. I will say surrender to the balance that already is. Your body will begin to reflect that change.
How spiritually cleansing is it when you make that decision?
It's everything. It's everything. There is no word in any language that I know that accurately describes what that is, what that feels like. Freedom. That's what I heard. Freedom. It's liberation from all the things. It's liberation from opinions. It's liberation from feeling as if it's liberation from obligation. It's liberation from all the roles. Every definition you've attached to a role is liberation from all of that. It's the freedom to simply exist fully present within the now. Divine presence bringing all of you front and center here in this moment. Not worrying about what I'm going to say next or how I'm going to articulate that. Just literally being in a flow state and allowing the divine to move through you.
We have a minute to go here before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. And our beautiful guest tonight is Angela Dione Anderson. Throw a .com on the back of that. You have her website. The body is very good at healing itself. You know, example, a smoker, if you quit within just a few months, your lungs will repair themselves. Your liver can repair itself if it's not too damaged. There's a lot of body parts that could rejuvenate itself. Too bad it wasn't my eyes and ears, because Lord knows I hate wearing glasses and I hate the tinnitus in my ears, but we are very good at regenerating for ourselves. As we go forward and we're cleansing the body through a spiritual cosmic path, do we have that ability to keep it going? Because it is retraining the mind, is it not?
Yeah, I would say not necessarily retraining the mind, but surrendering the mind. I think at some point, though, it becomes second nature, right? As you begin to surrender more and more to the truth of you, it's not even a thought. It's not even something I have to do, right? It's literally settling into simply being.
It becomes routine, and we're going to have another great hour. Can't believe 1 hour's done already. Angela Dione Anderson is our guest. AngelaDioneAnderson.com is her website and her YouTube channel name. Go check it on out. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, we are clear. Angela, I'm just going to put you in the green room for a couple of minutes. I'm just going to take a quick break, okay?
Nice. Okay.
All right, be right back. Don't you just love her? She's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And that laugh is infectious. Infectious. There's a word we don't use enough. All right, I am back. The unknown, how you doing? Nice to see you. And let's bring our guest back in. There she is. I'll get you to unmute your mic. There you. Oh, excuse me. There you go.
Nice.
So much fun tonight. So much fun. We have 1 minute to go. Big thank you tonight to all of our super chatters. Walter, Blue Cruise, Amy, Two Shadows, Kitty, Terrestrial, and Sensational Shelley. Thank you very much for your love. Don't forget, everybody, give us a thumbs up if you haven't already. Hit subscribe, ring that bell. We'd appreciate it if you're new here. And you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag. No ugly swag. It's on our website. So let's check it on out and make it happen. Yeah, we got about 30 seconds. I'm having a good time.
Nice.
Hope you are too. Yes. Yeah. We got about 15 seconds. If you have questions for Angela, please put them in capital letters. I will get to them this hour. So let's do it. Let's have some fun. Here we go. Here comes hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Our guest, Angela Dione Anderson, will be with us in a moment. But first, we want to say hello to all of you listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What is that? Iconolagny. Iconolagny is your password. Yes, Iconolagny. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. All right, let's bring in our guest. Angela Dione Anderson is our guest. She is a lovely soul who is trying to help people find their better part of their life, bring back their spiritual self to enlighten themselves, take the pressures off of life, and start living and breathing again. I think we could all use a little bit of that. Angela Dione, Dione, Anderson.com is her website. Her YouTube channel is the same name. Angela, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Now, didn't that first hour go really fast?
It did.
Oh, your laugh is so infectious. What is an alchemical engineer?
Okay. So I told you I was a software engineer by trade, right? For almost 20 years. And what I realized is I have the ability to create. I create with multiple mediums. I'm an artist at heart. I've always been a creative in that way. And when I created software, I created it like art, although that was frowned upon in the industry where you have to stick to certain standards. But I had my spiritual mother who said, you should call it alchemical engineering because I've created my own website. I built my website and I wanted it to be a place that represented me in cyberspace, right? It's not just a place to disseminate information. It's a place that truly reflects me. So if you never even make it to me personally, you will have been affected by my website because it is energetically in alignment and reflective of me. Alchemy is a process of change, evoking change, catalyzing change. And I feel like all of my creations at this point in my evolution are alchemical creations. They evoke change. I am alchemy walking. I evoke change when I speak, when my presence. That's part of the alchemy. So the creations that I lend my energy toward have the ability or are so amplified that they evoke change in anybody who encounters those creations.
How does one get to that point where they can find their own alchemic engineering?
How does one get to that point?
Yes.
Well, I would say you mentioned it before. Everybody can't meditate or everybody doesn't have time to meditate, but that's a critical thing because it doesn't cease thought. That's not the goal, is to cease thought, but it's really to reconnect with you. And so meditation, when I use the phrase meditate or the term meditation, that can happen in any number of ways. It can happen on your walks. It can happen as you drive. like those moments where you go in seeming autopilot, where you are just kind of existing. You are kind of in the void space wherein you are reconnecting with the true you, beyond the doing. So meditation, coming home to self, learning to breathe, learning to ride the breath into the heart space. That means being intentional when you breathe, following that breath internally and allowing it to settle at the very center of you. The center point of any space, of any object, of anything is a divine portal space. The center point where time and space time ceases in the center. If you can bring your awareness to the center of you, then you have the ability to reconnect. And when you first begin doing this, it's like you can do it for small stints, but as you practice yourself into it, your ability to sustain yourself within that space or allow yourself to surrender within that space gets more and more lengthy, I guess, for lack of a better word. And you allow yourself to reconnect with you. So I would say that's a great place to start. Meditation and the breath. Meditation and the breath.
I'll give you an example with me. One of the places I like to meditate, and this may sound funny to a lot of people, is during the spring, summer, and fall. One of the things I love to do is mow my lawn. So I get on my riding lawnmower, okay, and I literally will just sit there and I will just allow life to disappear. And every time I mow my lawn, I mow it in a different direction just to try something a little bit different. And I'm a rebel that way. I'm a rebel. Okay.
Nice.
But the one thing that I notice when I am meditating is I go back to a lot of dark times. Okay. Dark times, especially with people whom I used to call friends. Okay. And those friends, and we all have them, but those friends that I feel wronged me. And I miss them, and I start reliving that pain, that hurt that I experienced with that, because I don't like open doors, and I feel those doors of pain are still open. How do I get through that in order to, when I am meditating, to say, that was yesterday, I'm done with that, I have let that go, but it happens every time.
Yeah. So obviously you haven't let it go, right? Like it has been truly let
I'm
go.
asking.
Yeah. So in those cases, you have to not leave it there or not turn away from it. That's the thing about dis-ease or pain or discomfort. The reaction is to turn from it because we don't want to experience that thing, right? It's hard to experience those things. But really the magic happens by taking that breath, settling within the center of you and turning toward it to face it and asking it what it has to reveal to you about you. Why am I feeling so triggered? Why do I feel so much pain? What is it? What happened in this situation that brought this pain up, or that brings this pain up? Begin to question that pain. Have a consult with the pain. Talk to the pain, because the only way to allow the pain to dissolve is by seeing it for what it truly is. Seeing it for what it truly is. Seeing the illusion that might have been picked up or believed by virtue of that experience.
But I
So you
think
have to turn and face it.
I think for a lot of us, though, we're willing to face the pain, but when we have no control of the outcome or no control of how the other 50% feels, because it takes 50-50 in order to make a situation happen. You know,
Right.
that's
But yeah.
where
So
the
so
roadblock.
then yeah, so this is another another human conundrum where we think we get to dictate what the other person experiences, right? It's we don't have control over that. And at some point you have to make peace with the fact that you have no control over other people. You can't make them see your perspective. You can't make them feel what you feel. You can't make them see that, because there's only one you. You're the only person living life from your perspective. And so even if we witness the same event, we're going to see it from two totally different perspectives. So you have to make peace with that situation. It's like forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't for the other person. The forgiveness is a liberation of the self from that situation. So you are turning and facing it from that perspective. So as you do that, as you relinquish that negative energy that's attached to that situation, do you then allow yourself to present to that person with new energy? And so by virtue of that new energy, do you allow the potential for a response to meet you where you are energetically? So you can shift the field in that way. You can shift that interaction with that person by virtue of making peace with it internally, frequency adjusting, and allowing yourself to meet them at that elevated frequency. By virtue of law, like universal law, you are met by virtue of your resonance. Life is meeting you by virtue of your resonance. Shift it internally, witness it in reflection externally. That's how that works.
To follow that up, Amy is asking, but should we really let it go? Have to think again, on again, to help in current situations?
Should you let it go? That's the question for the self. But you have to ask yourself, what's the value in holding pain and discomfort? I mean, is there a value? Ask those questions. Begin to question the self. Begin to question that pain. Is it worth it to carry that pain forward? Is it, by virtue of holding that pain, are you hindering the realization of something else, something better, something greater? By virtue of holding on to that pain, by not making peace with that degree of pain. Ease comes by virtue of having the courage to question, look at, not resist those things that serve as triggers.
Let's move on to meditation.
Yep.
Okay. Meditation is something that I don't think a lot of people realize can be done anywhere. Whether you're sitting in the middle of your bed with your arms and legs crossed and got your eyes closed and you're humming away, or whether you're on a long, beautiful drive watching the sunset. I mean, it can be done absolutely anywhere. How should someone learn how to meditate?
So I'm going to say there isn't a necessity to learn how to meditate. There isn't a standard for what meditation must be for you, right? Meditation is personal. Meditation is whatever act you find pleasurable or enjoyable or tolerable that can assist you in reconnecting with your truth, right? It can be whatever it needs to be. So there is no standard way to meditate. There is no necessity for a standard way of meditation. All you need is a breath. You can meditate in one pranic breath. One pranic breath. That's one really slow, intentional breath to bring you into the heart space, allowing your body to fill up fully with air, and then exhaling extremely slow or equally as slow in response. Equal parts, inhale and exhale, extremely slow, like a 30-second inhale and a 30-second exhale. That's enough to bring you center. Meditation is just coming home to self. Meditation is just bringing yourself inward and allowing yourself to reconnect with you.
What about those who suffer from mental illness, such as depression, anxiety, you know, any sort of mental challenges that may cause, a lot of darkness or deep thought?
Deep thought. In those cases, I would say it's the same. Just I'm looking for the right words. Yes. Yes. Coming home to self is a difficult task, especially when one has allowed the voices to run rampant, to not take control over that which permeates the mind in terms of illusions. But it remains a simple task to bring the self home, to allow the self to breathe, to learn how to breathe, to allow the body to be breathed, allowing the body to be breathed so that some of that can slow down. Some of that momentum connected to those illusions can slow. Some of those illusions can slow. Yeah.
All right. Well, let me get to a comment from Vanessa here in our chat room, because I think this is kind of powerful. She says, oh, where did it go? My screen just jumped on me. Oh, goodness. Where did it go? Here it is. She goes, I deserve to carry some of this guilt and pain. I have a debt to pay for the pain I caused. That is a very, very powerful two sentences that a lot of people feel they have to carry the weight of these chains of pain and suffering because it's good for them. It's about learning the lesson rather than trying to figure out a way to let it go. And in a way, I could say from a personal level, this makes complete sense what Vanessa is saying.
Yeah. That's tough. Because that's it's like an unworthiness thing. I'm not worthy of releasing myself from the guilt or the residual effects of having inflicted ill on someone else. But the recognition of having done something that was not above board is enough to liberate you. If you recognize that there was something done that at this point in your evolution, you realize could have been done differently, that awareness is enough to allow yourself to be set free. We are all sovereign. And so you can make the choice for whatever you desire to experience, but there is always another way. There's always the opportunity for freedom to be realized if we grant ourselves permission for that freedom, if we realize that we are worthy by virtue of being. There's nothing that needs to be done to render us worthy of walking in our truth, to render us worthy. There's nothing we need to do to earn worthiness. We are worthy by virtue of being. The fact that we exist make us worthy. So you are worthy of being liberated from the chains of guilt and shame. You are worthy of choosing to release those chains that you are holding by virtue of your decision to think the decision to think that you need to carry these chains because of what you did in the past. The recognition is enough. The awareness is enough. This speaks to human consciousness becoming conscious of itself. Consciousness becoming conscious of itself. You have become conscious of that which was done unconsciously. By virtue of that, you are free. You are liberated. It is that simple.
It sounds so easy.
Because it is. It is. It's so simple, but it's so hard to wrap the human mind around. But because we've been so conditioned to believe that there is a necessity to do, to earn, to earn, right? That we're not worthy. We have to earn worthiness, and that's not the case at all. You are worthy by virtue of being. So you can choose liberation in the moment you desire to have it.
Liberation, though, can be, as we got about 2.5 minutes go before we go to break. Liberation, though, is a tough thing to say because, there are people who are caught up in their lifestyle. They have to, and it's not just about the lifestyle. It's about the bills that come along with that, whether that's a car payment, whether that's a mortgage or college tuition, or even if you're lucky enough, a vacation once a year. Remember when people used to have vacations once to twice a year?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot going on and a lot riding of it, so if you're caught in a situation where you are literally stuck, how do you liberate from that?
Yeah, that takes some deep soul searching to realize what do you really need? What do you really need? And I think that comes with getting to know yourself. It's a tough thing because we are so conditioned that we must have certain material things. We must follow certain paths. Like it's conditioning. But it comes by beginning to question. It comes by virtue of hearing conversations like this that spark your desire to question. They incite your curiosity about yourself, incite your desire to want to learn more about who you are and what you are. I was that one. I had that job where I was making 6 figures. But one day I realized that I was no longer that person to work in that way. And so I had to let some things go. But I walked away from it cold turkey and decided I didn't need all those things to be happy. Those things didn't make me happy, right? I was happiness walking. I exist as happiness. I don't need the material things to define a degree of happiness for myself. And I think that's what we have to assess collectively.
When we come back from the break, I want to ask you a question about that because I think that is very important. And that is there a difference for men and women in regards to that? Because for a lot of men, there's a lot of pride that goes into creating a home, that creating a family, making sure that everything is taken care of, and there's a lot that goes on within that old school way of thinking, that you got to be the provider first and happiness second. And we'll get into that more when we have Angela Dione Anderson for another 30 minutes on Spaced Out Radio. What a great show it's been.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we are clear.
Wow.
We're getting into some really good, deep stuff tonight.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Audience is absolutely loving you.
Wow. That's a heavy one. That guilt is a big deal. That guilt and shame is
Hmm?
um it is a big deal, but you are free. You are worthy of being free.
I will tell you this. I'm stuck right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I am very stuck. I had a job that I love that turned into a job that I now hate.
Mm.
Okay. All with a switch of ownership.
Mhm.
I've gone from working with an absolute gem to a corporation of absolute animals. Okay. And if they end up hearing this, I'll probably get fired for it. That's okay. I'm not going to edit it out. And I look at that and I think, my son is in grade 7. I don't want to uproot him because my parents uprooted me at grade 7. And it was the worst thing ever for my grades and my caring of school. Okay. I used to love school. And then when my parents moved, that you call it late in elementary. Here we have elementary school from K to 7, and then high school is
Mhm.
8 to 12. Okay. So I don't want to uproot my son in order to, because I remember what it did to me. And I don't want that for him.
Mm.
And so there is a bunch of different, ways and avenues where you're looking for that escape and you can't get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sandra, little SOR is in grade 7 now. Isn't that sickening? Sandra's literally been listening to this show for like 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was like 3 when she started listening. But that's kind of, a lot of people are like that, is
Yeah.
you're jammed in. I mean, I have no problem. Like if it was just my partner and
Yeah.
her and I would pick up and move. Not
Yeah.
an issue. But we absolutely love where we live.
Yeah.
And in my small community of 2,500, of a logging community that just saw the last of the 3 mills get shut down, okay, there are no jobs here,
Yeah.
okay? But we don't want to leave because we love it here. We love
Mm.
where we live. We're 10 minutes from nature. In 10 minutes, I'm in the forest where there is no one around.
Yeah.
Okay. And the forest is so healing, you know, and you get by some of these old growth trees, and when I get to go see my favorite tree in the forest, and yes,
Yeah.
as weird as that sounds, I have a favorite tree in the forest.
That's very
Okay.
nice.
And but when you go through that and you go through everything, you're kind of like, what is the purpose of this? Okay, why am I learning such a very hard lesson? Because when I moved up here 10 years ago, I moved up here to get away from this, what I'm
Mm.
experiencing now. And it's
Yeah.
come full circle again. And it's brought me into some dark places at times. I mean, I'm very open with my audience. My audience can attest. I have been very depressed the last couple of months.
Mm.
Very depressed. And it's something that, that's why I asked the question about being stuck, but we're going to get to that when we come back.
Okay.
Coming back in about 20 seconds, but I just want to give you some clarity to where I was going there.
Yeah.
Thank you
Okay.
tonight to Kitty Caddywhack, Two Shadows, Amy, Terrestrial, Blue Cruise, Shelley, and Walter for the great super chats. It's a great way to support what we do. Thank you to all of our members and prospective members. If you're new, hit subscribe, ring that bell. Here we go. All right, we're into the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We have Angela Dione Anderson for another 30 minutes. Her website, AngelaDioneAnderson.com. Dione spelled D-I-O-N-E. I love the name. Love the name. And what a gem she has been tonight. What a trooper. She's amazing. Before we bring her back on, we want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here is Angela Dione Anderson. We got her till the top of the hour. And right before the break, I was asking you, is there a difference between men and women in the way they handle or tackle their spirituality? And for a lot of people, they have blockages. They feel stuck because of mortgages, car payments. They love where they live. They're in a job that they hate, whatever it may be, but they are stuck for a reason. How do you get a person like that to flip and see the brightness of what life has to offer again when they feel so trapped internally and externally?
That's a tough one. Self-assessment is the name of the game. And I was that one like you, stuck in a job that I began to hate, and had to make that tough decision, had to make that decision to give up the six figures. When I did the assessment, though, I realized that I was here to be me. At some point, I connected with the fact that I was here to be me. I connected with a group, and I began to listen to the stories that were shared within that community space. And so at some point, I gave myself permission to really embrace the fact that there was more, and I had the ability to tap into more. I had the ability to live more. And so at some point, I made the decision that I was going to live fully as me. I was going to become fully realized as a soul in form. There was a cost involved in that because I had to give up the things that weren't aligned with that version of me. And one of those was the job. It was the house. We had to downsize, and we ended up having to move, needing to move, wanting to move, get a fresh start. But all of that was worth it because we uprooted the kids and all of that stuff. All the things that you just mentioned not wanting to do, those were the things I ripped the Band-Aid and did. And I bit the bullet and did the work, and it has not been easy, but it has been absolutely worth it, because by virtue of this process, I've come to understand all that I can become, all that I could become, because I was trapped in a situation where I believed that this was what I had to be. This is what I needed to be, because that was what I had always done. And to walk away from that would basically be reflected outwardly as a failure, right? Because I chose to walk away from all of those things. But I realized that there's no failure in choosing you, because you can only serve people to the degree that you know yourself, right? You can only be a help or an asset to people to the degree that you've come to know yourself. And so in that experience, I let go of all those things and chose to step into the space of owning me and really assessing what was necessary for my well-being going forward. I realized many of the things I had, the 3,000 square foot house, I didn't need as much because really my kids got lost in the house. Everybody would be tucked away in their own little corners, extremely disconnected from one another. And I was perpetuating that disconnection in that space. What we've cultivated here now, we have a much smaller home, 1,800 square feet. We always see each other. We're always with each other. We're cultivating a more community space. And so while it was a challenge to do that relocating, it has been a great gift because they've gotten an opportunity to see me step into the fullness of me. By virtue of me stepping into me, it's created the space for all of us to live truthfully. Whereas before, my husband was walking that role of having to align with the stereotypical husband role. I got to be the macho man. I got to walk in my pride and make sure I'm providing all of these things. Well, he softened because I've created the space wherein I'm not judging him, nagging him, saying, you must do these things in order for me to be happy. No, I exist as happiness. He's just an extra, he's an asset. He's a complement to that. And I feel like we've moved into a complementary space where we are able to work together as a unit, not necessarily fulfilling the roles as they have been defined by society, but being with each other, working as a unit in harmony, being what we need as a unit to cultivate what we are seeking to cultivate. So in my home, the paramount thing is walking in your authenticity, being who you truly are. If something is not aligned for you, then you don't have to engage with that. You can make another choice. The thing that hangs up humanity is that we get stuck on our attachments. We get attached to things and we attach to them and use them to define us, but nothing. You don't need anything external to define who you are, right? You are a divine being, animating form. Own that. Self permission to live that truth. And it may be difficult as you make the shifts and the changes to fully align with the truth of you, but I want to say you won't die. I mean, I don't want to say it that bluntly, and I don't mean to make light of it, but it's part of this evolutionary experience. You say you don't want your son to experience the things that you experience, but what if he chose you so that he could experience that particular thing you were trying to protect him from? We're all sovereign, making choices that align with that which will bring us into the highest realization of self. Well, the alchemy happens in purifying fire, right? The flames of purification. That's where the magic happens. That's where all the falseness is burned away. So it takes some degree of being willing to walk through that fire, accepting that there is no price I'm willing to pay to sacrifice being all that I have come to this planet to be. I'm no longer willing to sacrifice any of that. I'm willing to lose everything to fully walk in my truth. This is what I said to myself when I left that job, when I decided to fully own me. I'm willing to lose everything. And I didn't lose anything. If anything, I have gained all of these things. I've gained all of this support. My husband is more present than he has ever been. And today is actually It's so funny. Today is actually our anniversary.
Oh,
And I
happy
had this,
anniversary.
I had this whole moment this morning because he came in and he said, happy anniversary week, because we make it a week-long thing. Whole long story behind that. But he came in and just said, happy anniversary week. And I thought to myself, I just had this instant glimpse of our journey as a couple. And I thought to myself, what I was before and how I was holding him to a standard that he could never achieve, that he could never live up to, and how we've reached a point in our relationship. I mean, he went through the fire where I was learning myself. And so he had to put up with me transitioning and becoming this other person, but he's still present. Like going through all of that turmoil, like, right? That's that fire that you're going through, and coming out on the other side and being more present, being able to be more present with him and having him be fully himself, settled and being himself. Everything has softened where we are concerned. I said all of that to say sometimes life presents what we need when we need it, and our resistance to it prevents us from walking into the fullness of us. But the only way to get to that place, if you truly want to get to that place, is you got to go through it. You got to put on your big boy pants or your big girl pants and know that you will be held as you go through it. As you surrender to the fullness of you, as you surrender to that guidance, because I know you hear your guidance, as you surrender to that voice, that still small voice, well, everything you need will be provided in the moment of need. But you have to trust that everything that is not necessary for you to walk forward into the fullness of you, let it fall away. You don't have to be attached to the material things, because those material things don't define you, the you that is really you, right? They are not a definition of you. Be willing to release what no longer serves. That's what that means. Being willing to release what no longer serves.
Love that answer. That's powerful. Good job. Let's get to Jules here. What is the process for self-assessment?
Self-assessment is just a curiosity, a curiosity about the self. This is how you get to the self-assessment. Observe life. Become extremely observant, because all of life is showing you you. All of life is serving up exactly what you need to see in the way that you need to see it. But you have to be willing to see through the surface level of what presents, connecting with how what you witness makes you feel, right? Being willing to question all of that, being willing to question when you feel triggered, why am I feeling triggered? What is it showing me about me? What is the real story here? Why am I feeling this particular way? Why am I witnessing all of this conflict? Being observant to life. Simply observe, become observant to life, and begin to question life. Those two things are the self-assessment. Life is you. Everything you witness is you. People are responding to you based on the resonance that you carry. So being aware, life isn't happening to you as much as it is happening through you. So recognizing that, if you carry nothing else away, remember that phrase, life is showing you you in every moment.
You just seem to have a perfect answer for everything.
Yeah.
So impressed. So impressed. How do we get to our transformational presence?
Transformational presence. Well, everything we've talked about so far, I feel like that's how we get there. You are energy. You are energy, animating form. You are consciousness. You are consciousness becoming consciously aware of itself, right? Life is showing you you. These are the things. Um, I have the ability to create all that I witness. I have the ability to manifest everything that I desire to experience. You thoughts create. I'm a deliberate creator. Be intentional about your creation. Be intentional about your evolution. That's a thing that I don't think many people are clued in on, is that you can be intentional about opening up. So discovering ways to open up. Light language is that thing that accelerated my evolution. I didn't realize it until kind of far down the line, after I left my job and thought I was here to save the world. So I was going to create all these things to give to the world and teach the world. But I realized in the process of creating all these videos and transmissions to share with the world, I was essentially activating myself. And so I began to use light language, my soul's language, that frequency that is me, articulated through vocal expression. I began to use that to unwire or discombobulate the mind, to walk me back into connectedness with self. We all have that. We all have the ability to express as our divine essence. And so as we allow that frequency to move through us, it can walk us back into realization of us. Yeah.
As we push forward and we look for more happy, positive times in our life, is it about taking grace in the simple things that make you smile, that make you feel good?
Yeah.
Are we complicating it too much?
Yes. It's not so difficult. We collectively, we make things far more difficult than need be. Like we have this perception that we need to fix. We have to do something. We have to take some action in order to fix and resolve things. But really, what I have discovered in my own journey is that it's more about surrendering. It's more about surrendering, saying, you know what? This is what life is giving me right here. I'm just surrendering to that. I'm not resisting anything. I'm taking everything as it comes. That's the good and the bad, because the challenge of this awakening journey is that you have to you have to have the courage to see yourself. And a lot of times it's like a gut punch to the ego. Like many times it's the stuff that nobody wants to see, but you have to have the courage to face all of life with openness, surrendering fully to it, making peace with what you see and what you come to know about yourself, and choosing with intention to walk forward in a way that lends itself to you creating the you that you desire to become.
When we make that happen, what's the result? How do we open up to see the end goal? Is there an end goal?
I don't think there, I think, I think one of the milestones on the journey is stepping into realization of you, allowing that true soul essence of the divine essence to come through and be expressed fully. But this thing is infinite. Source is infinite. The field is a sea of infinite potential. So I don't think there is an end to that. We exist as worlds within worlds, and through those worlds within worlds is Source becoming more aware of all that it might become through us, right? Through every point of creation is a point of focus for Source to step into greater realization of Source and all that it might become. So I don't think there is an end from that perspective.
Is there then a way for us to be able to, or let me rephrase that. when we start the process of making that change, how quickly or how much of a dynamic is it for the healing, the body and the mind to start healing? Is it instantaneous?
I think it can be. It can be. It can be. You hear of spontaneous remissions and things like that all of the time. There's a direct link between cancer and anger or resentment, right? As those things are rebalanced, as that illusion is seen for the truth of what it is, you can have things like spontaneous remissions occur, right? That's a possibility. So it just depends on the person and what they need. What they need. Again, there is no cookie
Hmm.
cutter standard for how life must be. Life is unfolding in the way each of us needs for each of us as we need it to unfold, such that we can become more aware of who we are and who we are not.
We have 3.5 minutes to go before we have to say goodnight to you. And once again, another show that has flown on by, and I can't believe we're 2 hours in. You know, how do we get started? What is your top two most minute pieces of advice you could give on how to get started on a new path?
Have the courage to you. Have the courage to begin to assess yourself and see what's true for you and what's true for someone else. Have to assess those things that you've picked up from mom and dad. Ask, is that really reflective of me, or is that just what mom and dad used to do, right? Because if it's something that they used to do, then I can let that go, because that's not really authentically reflective of me. Beginning to assess yourself, having the courage to discover you, and as you discover yourself, having the courage to live that and not hold yourself back because you stand out from the crowd as different, because you're not here to be like everyone else. You are a unique expression of the source, here to gift the world with your authenticity. You are the greatest gift you have to give to the planet. You are the greatest gift. We all hold a unique frequency. We all exist as a unique frequency, expressions, and by virtue of us living it, being it, that frequency permeates the field and it begins to wake everybody else up to. Ability to affect change by your presence alone. And that's it. You don't have to do anything but be authentically you. So have the courage to discover you, and then have the courage to live fully as you.
Where can people find your website and your YouTube channel?
AngelaDioneAnderson.com is my website, and YouTube channel is Angela Dione Anderson. Yeah.
That's beautiful. You
Yeah.
have
Thank you
been
guys for having me. I'm
you have
so
been an amazing guest tonight. You have been very clear, cognizant, and very enlightening for many people who got the opportunity to hear your voice speak. And I think it's been a wonderful show. It really has. And that's all because of the presence you brought tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I am honored to be here with all of you. So this is not a task that I take lightly. And I take every opportunity to bring all of me to the moment. So that's the other thing, being fully present in the moment.
Well, it's well deserved. It's well deserved of the compliment. AngelaDioneAnderson.com is her website. Make sure you go check it on out. YouTube name is the same as well. Angela Dione Anderson. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio as we enter hour 3, Swamp Dweller will be here. Then the Wizard brings in the latest and greatest UFO report.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
You were absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't too much. So I was like,
No.
it's too
Fantastic.
much.
You were
Oh,
fantastic. Thank you for
nice.
being you, and thank you for coming on this show.
Oh, thank you for having me, Dave. This is great. Wow.
We got you a
Wow.
bunch of new subscribers as well to your channel.
Nice.
Have a wonderful night tonight and go get some sleep. You deserve it.
All right. All right.
You take care and
Awesome.
please stay in touch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All
Take
right.
care, my friend. She's awesome. Oh, I love her. Absolutely love her. I'll be back. All right. Let's bring in the wizard. Let him say hello. How you doing,
Hello.
wizard?
Hello, Dave.
Hello,
Do you
wizard. How you
do you
doing?
do you have a nickname? Like everybody else has a nickname except for you. Do you have a nickname?
Oh, I don't need one.
I heard the last 45 minutes of the show. Was fantastic. I will certainly have to go back and watch the full show after the fact. And I went out and subscribed to her channel. I'm gonna take a listen to some of her transmissions. That sounds really interesting.
She's pretty amazing. Very amazing. I was thoroughly impressed with her. And her energy is just beautiful.
Yeah.
Just beautiful.
Yep. Yeah, she was really coming through. I think that's probably what was causing some of her technical issues too.
Could have been near the end there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big thank you tonight to Amy, Blue Cruise, Walter, Shelley, Terrestrial, Two Shadows, and Kitty Caddywhack for the great super chats tonight. Thank you very much for the love. I appreciate that. Reminder to all of you, you can get your VIP tickets for CaribouCon 2026, September 18th through 20th. Go to cariboucon.com. That's CaribouCon.com. cariboucon.com, because there is only a limited amount of VIP tickets before regular tickets go on sale. Here we go. Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. We have Swamp Dweller and the Wizard and the UFO Report coming on up here momentarily. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us in. We greatly appreciate the love and support you give us each and every night. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in SOR Space Travelers Club. Iconolagny is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp.
During my time in the Marines, I never really had any odd or terrifying experiences until my last deployment, that is. During this deployment, I was sent to the Middle East and kind of tossed aside by my command because they already had one sergeant in control of the section I was supposed to be in charge of. I was then sent to security forces for the base I was on. While on security forces, Sec 4, as us in the business call it, I was assigned to be on the NCOIC, non-commissioned officer in charge, for a post on the night shift. Funnily enough, ghost stories about old military bases stretch very far in the community, and as most of them are, not very believable. While on this post, I was in charge of 4 other guys, 2 of them who were originally from the section I was recently whored out from. Every night we spent watching as cars drive in and out of our gate. We had several paranormal encounters involving that post that I won't go into because I don't have the time. Fast forward a few months of standing this post every night, Marine Corps deployment living, me and my unit returned to the United States to our home base. That's when everything started. Originally, I thought it was just me. About once or twice a week, I had the same nightmare over and over, where I was strangled by a faceless shadow who was very tall and had long arms. The dream originally started as just another nightmare, possibly due to the side effect of vaccinations, changes in time zones, flight exhaustion, alcohol, etc. This went on for about 2 weeks. When I went home on leave to my home in another state, the nightmare seemed to stop for a week or 2, until my last night at home. I was going to sleep as usual, in my family's spare room. I've been moved out for several years already, but it's easier to stay with them. I was sleeping with my trusty dogs. He was sleeping right next to me, keeping me company. That's when the nightmare got worse. This time, it was very vivid and surreal, where I didn't wake up at the first sign of being startled. During those dreams, everything started very boringly and normal-like. In the one I remember the most, I was going out about my daily routine on deployment. I was off shift and walking to the chow hall when I stopped to have a smoke with my guys, where I would hear them say, "Hey, Sergeant, did you hear about something?" And I would sit there and continue to make conversation for a few minutes as I took drags off my Marlboro Red, occasionally cracking jokes before giving younger Marines life advice. When walking into the front door of the chow hall, I would clear out my rifle. We had one on us at all times, and when opening the doors, everything went black. Like the doors opened to black as I stepped inside the hall to look around. I would then stop and turn around and head back to the doors when everything behind me disappears as well. I'm alone, still in my gear from standing post. All of a sudden, I see out of the corner of my eye an even darker shadow moving towards me when I look straight at it, and then I was paralyzed. The shadowy figure stood around 8 feet tall and had long arms, where once it was close to me, it wrapped its hands around my neck, and I could feel myself grasping for air, slowly losing consciousness. After what felt like forever, and just screaming for what felt like days, I woke up in my head, back in my bed at home, with my dog freaking out because I was screaming. I woke the entire house up that night. About a week after that, I'd already driven back to my home base, and it was back to work. While I was losing sleep, the frequency of those dreams was reaching about 3 times a week at this point. It was the end of the week, and I was about to start a weekend. I was then assigned to barracks duty. Barracks duty is a mindless job. You tour the barracks, stop a drunk guy here or there, tell people to turn down the music, and occasionally have to walk to someone important who wants to check up on his Marines. So yeah, the post was 24 hours long. When one night, about 3 a.m., I was touring the smoke pit of the barracks, where I run into 2 guys who I stood post with. Me looking at the clock, I walked up, lit up a cigarette, and decided to talk with them for a few minutes before I returned to my duty hut. I asked them what they were doing up so late. Although it wasn't uncommon to see a Marine up and in the smoke pit at 3 a.m., I wanted to make some friendly conversation. My 2 friends started talking about nightmares and not sleeping. I was prying into it for a few minutes out of curiosity when one of them pulled out his sketchbook for tattoo ideas. He then said, "This is what I see in my nightmares recently." Both myself and my buddy went very silent and cold. The creature was the same thing from both of our dreams. We then went into detail and saw all of our nightmares were the same thing. Doing normal things, fades to black, shadow figure strangling us. Everything was the same, right down to the figure itself. None of us were able to sleep at night. That was over a year ago. I have since left the Marines. I decided not to re-enlist and go to college, and those nightmares have seemed to have gone away. Still, every few months I do have a nightmare similar to the ones I had. Not the same in intensity, though. I wonder if my guys are having them too, or if they ever got past it.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another creepy story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube, type in Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell, because he kicks off hour 3 each and every night on this show. And he's got thousands of stories on his own channel for you to listen to each and every time. From the swamp to the stars above, let's bring in the wizard, Josh Rutledge of the UFO Report. All right, the wizard, it's always good to have you on Spaced Out Radio. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic. I am trying to decide if I'm going to wake up at 4 a.m. to watch Age of Disclosure when it releases.
You're that guy. You totally would.
Yeah. I mean, I do have to work tomorrow, but I could take a nap in the afternoon, you know. Of course, I won't go to bed until around 1 o'clock my time anyway, so that's only 3 hours of sleep. So I don't know, but um, man, I'm really excited about Age of Disclosure, but also cautiously excited because I have a feeling it's probably going to let me down.
Well, let's talk about Age of Disclosure for a couple of minutes here because there are a lot of people out there in Radioland who may not know what it is.
Yep. So it is a documentary by is it Greg Farah, I think is how you say his last name. Is it Greg is his
Farah.
first name? Farah. Thank you. And it was premiered at like a film festival back in March of this year. And I think everybody was expecting it to be released sooner than now. I guess it's taken them longer to get a platform to launch it on. I guess they didn't want to launch it on YouTube or something, so they were in discussions. And so it's finally coming out on Amazon Prime. And then I think in select theaters. I think those select theaters are like there's one in New York and I think one in LA. But it's not cheap. It was like $24 if you're going to buy it on Amazon Prime. There's no renting option. You have to buy it. At least that's as of today. It may be for purchase for a while and then become for rent. I'm not sure. And the kind of the anticipation for it is that it's supposed to have 40 plus government associated individuals, not all, military people, some congressmen, just government associated individuals, 40 plus, that are going to go on the record and talk about UFOs. They're probably going to use the word UAP. And it's supposed to be the documentary that will remove all doubt for anyone who is on the fence as to whether or not this is a real topic.
That's kind of interesting. I wonder, and my questions on it, as I have questions about it as well. My biggest question on it is whether or not they will allow more new information to come out. I will tell you right now, when I watch this movie, the minute I see the 3 videos, Go Fast, Gimbal, and Tic Tac, come on the video screen, which I will almost guarantee there's about a 99.9% chance that they will be used. I know personally my brain will tune out because that's going to tell me whether it's the same rhetoric we have been hearing from these voices for so long. Now, for you and me in the community, this is old hat. This is old news. But we have to get out of the idea, in my opinion, that we have to keep repeating the same stories over and over and over again, just because there isn't people who have maybe not tuned in before or are just learning about this subject where it is brand new. They can catch up. Okay. It's like if you take an NFL season and you're at week 9, just because somebody may have missed the first 9 weeks of the season, you don't restart it. They have to catch up.
Yeah.
And I think after 8 years, it's time for people to catch up.
I'll use your NFL season analogy though, and I'll say that although you're correct, they don't restart the season over. The commentators will hearken back to events that have occurred in past games. And so if I don't expect the full documentary to be nothing but 40 people talking about those 3 videos. But I do suspect they will use those 3 videos because it is some of the best qualified and acknowledged UAP UFO footage from the U.S. government. So I think they'll call back to those things, but I don't think the entire documentary will be just 2 hours of 40 people talking about those 3 videos.
I don't think they're going to talk about the videos because that's a little bit pushing it past. Pardon me, but I know they're going to be shown because that's all they've really got.
Well, and like you say, there are people who, I guess, for me, it's probably a matter of, she's been on your show before, Deb's Shakti, a really good friend of mine. The way she talks about the messages that people say is that 20 people could say the same message and 100 people could listen to those 20 people say the same message, but really only get it or hear it from a select group within that 20 that said it. And that's because there's like a frequency match that occurs between the receiver and the transmitter. And so if that means that 40 people have to talk about for a brief moment those 3 videos, but one of those 40 plus people is on the same frequency match to somebody who's never considered this or thought about it before, then I'm okay with that. It's like saturation. You want to saturate the market, if you will, with what it is that you're trying to get out there, in hopes that that will be the thing that triggers the person who has heard it 10 times before, heard it from their friends, heard it from their friend at the bar, whatever the case may be. But this time they hear it from this other person, and it happens to be a frequency match, and that sparks them off to say, wait a minute, there might be something to this. And they go off and investigate it. For us, like you said, in the community, it's annoying because we've seen those videos. I've probably seen them a couple 100 times, if not maybe even 1,000 at this point. And everybody that when I tell them that I investigate UFOs, usually the first thing they ask me is like, what do you think about those videos from the Pentagon, in 2018? And we talk about them for a little bit. And I'm okay with that being the jumping off point. Because for a lot of people, there is a sense of reverence that comes from, for some reason, the government releasing official videos on the topic. And so, I think for that reason, for me, although I too would be the same as you, and it would cause me to say, oh, here we go, just another documentary talking about these 3 videos. But what I'm going to have to do is push myself to not fall into that trap, because the moment I turn off my mind to the possibilities of what is said or not said in the documentary is the moment that I lose or miss some key information that may be hidden in just the general dialogue throughout the documentary.
I would agree with you on that. I think you nailed the nail on the head right there with what you said, and I know it's not for you, me, or the UFO community. It's about educating those who have limited to no knowledge of this. It's about trying to open up their eyes. Mm-hmm. We've been trying to open up their eyes for 8 years. It's been all over the media. Okay. It's been all over news outlets, radio shows. Even it doesn't matter whether it's talk radio shows or a morning zoo type of show. They've been talking about it. This subject has got more press than everything. I guess what I'm saying is, at some point, you got the ball rolling 7-8 years ago now with the To the Stars Academy, the videos coming out, the New York Times article. It's time to push past that. If you're going to keep recycling, okay, you're never going to stop recycling. And at some point, these individuals who are wanting these newbies to believe that this is going on are going to have to start providing the same relevance. Okay, some more
Yep.
relevance to create that second wave of information. Have we really had that second wave of quality videos of deep discussion? We've had pieces of it, we've had the hearings, but we really haven't had that second natural wave that you would expect.
Well, and yes. And I will also say that, and I think you would agree with this statement, the difference between someone who is a believer versus someone who is a knower is an individual who's had their own experience.
True.
And so for many people in the community, it is made up of people who have had their own experiences. So for them, a lot of the information is going to be like, well, yeah, duh, but for the individual who has not had their own experiences or is reluctant to acknowledge that they've had their own experiences, this might be that little kind of sliver, if you will, that the door gets cracked open just enough so that they have an experience. My friend Stefan, who does my podcast with me, he says it all the time. He's like, if you're going to buy a brand new car, like let's say you want to buy a brand new Jeep Wrangler, or you're just looking to get a new Jeep Wrangler, everywhere you go, all of a sudden you see them. You see them everywhere, different colors, configurations, so on and so forth, because you're now looking for that thing. So if this documentary causes people to be looking for the possibility of the phenomena to be real, they'll have their own experiences, and that will lead them to wanting to know more about the phenomena. That's the difference between you and I, and probably a lot of the people watching this show versus the people who are uninitiated, is that we've had those experiences. And so they keep us grounded and rooted in wanting to understand the phenomena more. When we get pushback or when we get information that pushes against our understanding, we can fall back on the experiences that we've had. But for someone who is uninitiated, who hasn't had that experience or is unwilling to accept that they don't have that that foundation to fall back on. So to your point, that's where having new information that has to come forward then to keep them engaged until they have their own experience, and then they'll have that foundation to fall back on when things get interesting or rough or new information comes to light.
Well said. Well said. We got about 90 seconds to go before we have to go to break. The wizard, Josh Rutledge, is here tonight on Spaced Out Radio's UFO Report. I hope it does well. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to shoot it down before anybody sees it. Am I going to watch it? Yes, I am. I'm curious to see how it looks, if it's a repeat of all the other information. 1 minute to go. What do you expect?
I expect to be a lot of the information and stories that we've heard probably over the last, 4 or 5 years. But I do expect that there will be some new information or new insights that'll be proposed. One of the people that I've seen that saw the screening in March, they said that the documentary jumps to the conclusion that extraterrestrials are here and they're monitoring us. And they kind of downplay a little bit and say that they don't provide any evidence to support that claim. But again, for those of us who are experiencers, duh, so I mean, it will be picked apart on X and Reddit by the cynics, and it will probably be picked apart by the believers. But I think for the knowers, there will be some truths hidden amongst some of the repeat information that will help guide us in what we're trying to seek.
On that note, when we return on Spaced Out Radio, we're going to get the wizard's opinion of another UAP company.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
Jumping into the fold. All right, Wizard, we're clear.
Cool.
I think the Wizard suits you well, though,
Thank you.
because you are very, very smart and talented.
Well, thank you.
And I mean that nickname with a complete compliment, my man.
All right. Cool. I mean, I'm happy to own it. I need a Wizard shirt. That's all.
I'll figure one out.
I've got you one for Caribou Con. I'm gonna send it to you real quick.
All right.
This comes courtesy of ChatGPT.
Let's see this. Oh, I like that. I'll show the audience here.
Okay.
This is fantastic. It makes a lot of sense. It really, really makes a lot of sense. Yep. Yep. Makes a lot of sense.
No, getting a lot of wicked feedback.
There. Sometimes when I bring Facebook on,
Yeah.
for some reason, even though I have the tab muted, it brings a lot of feedback and audio on there.
Sounds like you were dropping symbols downstairs. So
No, wasn't me. Thurston Howell the Third, how are you? How's Lovey doing? Let's see.
I heard that on the guest tonight, it was her anniversary today.
Yeah.
My anniversary is Sunday. In case you're wondering.
What is it? That's exciting.
Yeah. Tomorrow is the anniversary of our first date. So
Beautiful.
20 years, man. It's been like, where'd the time go?
All right. If you're a member on our YouTube channel, you should get a notification. If you have your notifications turned on, that the latest episode of Secrets of the Forest is ready. It's ready to be shown. So if you're a member, you're going to watch it early on Saturday, 5 p.m. Pacific. And then the rest of us get to watch it after that. Hey, I actually did it. I'm pretty proud.
I'm a member, so I'll get to watch it.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
Become a member. Don't be a square.
How did you meet your lovely lady?
Online, actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It was a local run website for the city we were in, and met her on there. We talked on the phone for like a month before we went on our first date, and then that's all she wrote.
Beautiful. Then she trapped you. She set the hook and
It's
brought out
probably
the
the other way around. She always would say you weren't a part of my 5-year plan. So it's probably the other way around.
And 2 kids later in a beautiful home.
Yep.
Did very well.
Thank you. Just 7 more years until they're off to college, and it's just the 2 of us again.
That'll be awesome. Kitty Caddywhack, Terrestrial, Shelly, Two Shadows, Amy, Blue Cruise, and Walter. Thank you for your great super chats. Appreciate the love. Thank you to all our new subscribers who've tuned in recently. We appreciate you. Shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So check it on out. And what else can I tell you? Yeah, let's get them thumbs up to about 100. We're only 2 away. If we could, I'd really appreciate it. And don't forget after the show to please leave a comment, as we are shadow banned. So we need to try and get out of that, if you don't mind. We're coming back in 5 seconds if Josh doesn't need his microphone.
Sorry.
Here we go with the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. The UFO wizard, Josh Rutledge, continues with us. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Reminder to all of you that if you missed most of this show or others, our archives, well, guess what? They're always free on any major podcast network, YouTube, or wherever you can Google us, because we can be Googled. We can even be AI'd, which is now kind of cool. I'm starting to really love the AI. I really am starting to love the AI for as minimal time as I use it. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. Josh Rutledge, we call him the UFO wizard around here, having a great time with us on the UFO Report. Josh, thank you so much for tuning us in.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Dave. And despite some some frustrating news from NASA at their press conference the other day. I am, like we talked about in the first half hour, I'm interested to see what Age of Disclosure has to show us, and will it be some new information, some new little tidbit to wet the whistle with. So,
well, let's quickly speak about the NASA thing.
Yep.
I went off on it last night. I did, and I'm actually quite happy about the way I went off on it. So you have to listen to last night's show to figure it out. For our listeners, I was disappointed. I was very disappointed.
It was exactly what I expected it to be. I did not expect them to acknowledge anything that Avi Loeb has been saying in any positive way. And in fact, when they first got started, they in the very most NASA research librarian kind of way, no offense to research librarians, they kind of just downplayed everything that Avi has been talking about. And the next 2 hours was basically talking about the images that they are or were able to capture, a lot of other data that they're going to upload once it's been processed, aka scrubbed, and then that's going to be fueling scientific discussion for years to come. There was a panel, of people that talked about it. It was exactly what I expected it to be. I posted on my socials saying that, NASA has replaced imagination with hubris. And the fact that they can't even fathom the possibility that it could be anything other than an interstellar comet is an indicator that NASA has lost touch with what, at least from a public's perspective, it was intended to be.
I would agree with you. And that's something that we said last night. Most people do not understand that NASA is a two-headed beast. You have the publicity side, which is still running off the reputation of putting a man on the moon 50 years ago. And you have the military side of it all and the spy satellite side, where they are responsible for monitoring a lot of the satellites that the CIA, the NRO, the NSA, the Air Force, Navy, Marines, Army all use. Okay. They have a huge responsibility on the militaristic side of things. That being said, what have you done for me lately? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and the photograph that they showed, that they presented, that they were all proud of, literally looked like a motorcycle riding through the fog.
Yeah, and then there's one that I think the Webb telescope took that's all pixelated, and just I am baffled how Joe Schmo in his backyard with his Celestron, $150 telescope can take better pictures with his cell phone camera on like a mount that he bought on Amazon than NASA can take from space. It boggles my mind. So it must be, there's like the adage of better to be thoughtful than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. And NASA opened its mouth.
And I think so. I think you're absolutely correct. Okay. NASA has a giant mouth with a giant foot they keep putting it in. Okay. They keep shoving that foot deeper and deeper inside their mouth. And I think that the problem with NASA is there's no accountability to the public. And nor do I think they care.
Yeah.
This new generation of NASA does not care. It's like, we're going to give you what we give you, and that's it. They don't create astronauts anymore. They have very few test pilots, and everything's going through SpaceX, Blue Origin, and others now. I mean, NASA's basically out of the space race because they're contracting everything now.
Well, they did put out an announcement, I think it was last week, inviting the media to come to the launch that they're going to do soon for their first Artemis mission, which is, their attempt to put a colony on the moon. And I think it's like 2026 coming up next year is when that first launch is supposed to be. They're inviting any and all media to come and participate in the launch. Dave, I think Spaced Out Radio needs to go.
Yeah, if we had the budget. But
Yeah.
here's a comment by Benno in our chat room. No little kid dreams of being an astronaut anymore. Shame on you, NASA. I mean, man, growing up in the 70s and 80s, man, you wanted to be an astronaut.
Right.
And then when they moved to those really cool looking shuttles, you wanted to be on there, man.
Yeah.
You wanted to be one of them.
Well, you also though were coming out of the 50s and 60s era of like, the men from Mars. And, I was just listening to a segment or a story on NPR the other day talking about how Lowell, who, is the Lowell Observatory here in Arizona up at Flagstaff, he discovered Pluto. But he was also a big proponent that there was a civilization on Mars. And so you're coming out of that era, right, of the early 1900s, and all through the talk of, life on Mars and life on Venus. And then you fast forward and you move into the space race and then astronauts and put a man on the moon. And I know there are people who think we didn't go to the moon, but, Buster, that the India rover that they sent up a couple of years ago actually took a picture of our landers on the moon from space, from their orbit of the moon. So our landers at least went to the moon, whether or not you think people were in them or not. So it was, but yeah. And then we, like you said, we went into the space shuttle program and everything, but now it's just, like you said, it's contracted out, or we're not doing like really any fun, cool things. Like I know my kids participate in a thing at school for amateur ham radio so they can talk to the International Space Station. but that's probably the limit of the cool things that happen with space nowadays for kids. And really all that encourages you to do is to maybe be involved in, amateur radio.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. I just wish NASA would give more accountability. Okay.
Well, they did get their budget cut, quite a bit recently. So, I just don't think that NASA is staffed with dreamers anymore. There's no one who's dreaming about the next, what is the next space race, right? No one's really thinking about or dreaming about that. At least if they are, they're not talking about it. If they're releasing papers in peer-reviewed journals, that's great for science, but that's not great for the public. NASA only, in my opinion, NASA is only successful if it has the backing of the public. And they don't.
I think that's an extremely profound statement right there. You'll probably see that on the reels later. It was that good, but no, I think you're absolutely right. I want to change topics here, so we only got about 10 minutes left.
Yep.
So apparently, I was tipped off today that there is another company coming out saying they are going to bring world-class technology to UAP detection. Okay, this company called Dione is out of California. They have nobody listed as, much like Enigma Labs, they have nobody listed as their team. There is one gentleman who has created the company. He's out of I believe it's UC Berkeley. His name is David Hooper. Okay, guy seems pretty darn smart. Okay, but over the last couple of years, we have seen a extra plethora, if you're keeping count at home, of different UAP searching devices, radar detections, absolutely everything that is trying to detect and going to take this whole subject right into the stratosphere, pun intended, on how to prove where these things are, what they are, who they are, and what they ate for breakfast and how they refueled. Is this just, in your opinion, another group trying to bridge itself with future government contracting?
It's possible. I have a MADAR unit in my house, which MADAR has been around, probably one of the oldest of this type of thing, where you've got, a device in your house that is passively monitoring various, signals and things. Yeah, I've seen this. I've seen this company before. A friend of mine was just at a conference in Italy, and this company had a booth there set up with their rig. Their rig, by the way, nothing like any of this that's being shown on the screen. It's very rudimentary. They're very much in their early stages of defining what the different instruments that they're going to use are going to be. They have no assembled package. I'll send you some pictures after the show that my friend sent me. It's literally just a bunch of things, strewn across the table with the pitch of, hey, we can make this thing the next great thing. But to me, this is no different than the Sky 360 that we talked about, I think, on Monday. I think Jim Segala has one out there now that he's kind of backing. But you're right. And I think it is because on an episode of Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson a couple of months ago, the current head of Arrow, which his name is escaping me at the moment, but the current head of Arrow said to Neil that they're going to be looking at how to get devices into the hands of the general public so that they can be passively monitoring for all of these kind of instrumentation signals, so that when they have a sighting occur near one of these devices, maybe there's instrumentation data that they can capture that'll help them understand it. So I think you're right. I think it's somebody has seen the writing on the wall and saying, hey, I want to be the guy who can mass produce these things to sell to the US government so that they can put them in the hands of the general public.
Well, let's read this together here.
Okay.
Okay. So this is what they put out there. Once again, they're going with the non-existent threat narrative. The problem no one wants to admit. This is from Eldaon's website, eldaon.com. For decades, our skies have hosted something we don't understand. Defense systems miss them. Intelligence agencies classify them. Academia avoids them. But the events persist. Over 500 credible UAP incidents acknowledged by the U.S. government, with hundreds more reported globally every year. No sensor fusion platforms are optimized for detecting anomalous flight behaviors like transmedium travel, hypersonic acceleration without propulsion, or time dilation effects. No public or fielded defense infrastructure exists to monitor or respond to these incursions, despite their repeated violations of restricted airspace, including near nuclear facilities and military installations. 22 million spent by government programs like ATIP and Kona Blue, with zero deployable delivered to the field. We face a blind spot at the edge of our technological reach. The unknown isn't just out there, it's already here, and our systems were never designed to see it. To me, once again, trying to capture the threat narrative. Your thoughts?
I agree. And I think it's because this website, if you look at it in its entirety, it's very much geared towards the military industrial complex type individual, right? It's trying to sell its services or its products to the military. Deploy our stuff. Here's a field deployable unit that you can put on any Humvee and put out in the environment and capture information and blah, blah, blah. It's also a pretty bold statement that our systems, that it makes that quote unquote, our systems were not designed to capture any of this stuff. If that's the case, then why are we capturing things? Why does the 3 videos we don't want to see anymore, why do they exist if our systems were not designed to capture it? The designers may not have sat down and said, we need to build a thermal system that can also capture UAP. But the fact that we're capturing video says that our technology can capture it. I think what this website and what this company is ultimately going after, like you said, like we talked about before, is they want to make a product that they can sell to the U.S. government, that the U.S. government can then turn around and either sell or place with volunteer, public, amateur researchers that want to put these things in their backyard or in the garage or up in the attic or whatever the case may be, to passively monitor for UAP. The problem that they'll soon find, and maybe this company doesn't really care, but the problem they'll soon find is that UAP don't act on some sort of a schedule, right? It's not like they fly past a certain spot every Tuesday at 2 p.m. They're very random and erratic, and the MADAR unit has been operating in its, since its inception for like 25 or 30 years. And they have some good catches. You can go to madar.site and look up some of the information that they have caught. You can look up and see where all the different units are placed around the world. But it doesn't do any good if there's not also eyewitness testimony. Because just observing or capturing anomalous data without any eyewitness testimony to also correlate to that data, you're missing half of the puzzle. Or at a minimum, you're missing what the picture on the front of the box of the puzzle is supposed to be, so that you can put the puzzle together. So ultimately, it has to be deployable units in the hands or homes of people who are interested in observing or are already observing UAP UFOs.
$1:30 left on the clock.
Well, since we've got $1:30, I want to switch gears just 1 second, because since you've been on kind of an anniversary kick the last couple of times we've gotten on, did you know that today is the November 20th, 1952 is the anniversary for George Adamski's famous orthon contact, 73 years ago today.
I did not know this.
Yeah. In Desert Center, California, he was out with some friends. They saw a large cigar/submarine shaped craft. He said he walked away from the group and a smaller scout ship landed nearby. Its pilot, a long-haired space brother from Venus named Orthon, supposedly stepped out and communicated him by gestures and telepathy. 73 years ago today. Or I guess
just
yesterday.
Like that, another guy believed in the aliens.
It's also an anniversary for the Oumuamua paper was filed 20th September 2017. And that paper is what officially classified Oumuamua as the first confirmed interstellar object. That also happened today. So, or I guess November 20th, it's now November 21st, depending on where you are. But yeah, so a couple of anniversaries today, Dave.
I love it. Way to go. Where can people find your podcast?
You can find all of my stuff at my website. It's ourmysticjourneys.com. That's OUR mysticjourneys.com. From there, you can find my podcast, my YouTube channel, my private sessions, all the stuff.
Thank you, Josh, as we say goodnight to the wizard. And hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Good job tonight, Wizard.
Thank you, Dave.
You're very welcome. Very, very welcome. That was a good night.
It was
Fun
good
time.
night.
Great conversation.
Yep. Somebody was saying in the chat, I'm trying to find it. Where did it go? Hillbilly Herb was wondering if interstellar comets can be correlated with solar maximum periods. And the cosmic computer, maybe their purpose is to take excess energy from the sun. So Hillbilly Herb, if you are not aware, I did a video on my YouTube channel It's my latest video where I did a dowsing session with some dowsing rods, and I got information about 3i Atlas. And one of I guess the main thing that it said is that it travels across the universe to see life throughout the universe. And so maybe it needs that solar radiation in order to kickstart its processes. So, yeah, maybe. I mean, we did get some wicked solar flare activity after it passed around the backside of the sun.
That's true. That was a good show that 3i put on.
Yep. So, all right, man. Well, I'm going to head on out. You have a wonderful weekend.
You have a great night, buddy. Thank you for everything you do.
Yeah. And catch you guys next week, Monday night is where it's at.
Wizard, we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Later. UFO Wizard, everybody. How cool is he? There we go. There we go. Tomorrow night on the show, we are going to have, who is tomorrow? Hold on. Bugs Mitchell. Yeah, Bugs Mitchell. He is a Bigfoot guy. He is going to be with us to talk some UFOs, interdimensional possibilities, Sasquatch. I'm looking forward to it. 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. So make sure you tune us on in there, people. Yeah, that's you. Tune us in, darn it. And what else can I ask you? Thank you tonight to Walter, Shelley, Blue Cruise, Terrestrial, Amy, Two Shadows, and Kitty Cattywhack for the super chats. Greatly appreciate your love. And let's see you all tomorrow night here. Don't forget, after this show, make sure you've given us a thumbs up. Make sure you leave a comment and participate in our community, because I'm putting some stuff up there, some questions for you guys to hang on out. All right? We will talk to you tomorrow night. I send you a lot of love because you send me a lot of love. Sleep well, rest well, and let's talk in about 21 hours from now. Sound good? See you then.
healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.